right, I think we can start. Good morning, everyone. Okay. Yes, it will be recorded. Yes. All right, so good morning, everyone. Today's webinar is going to be about our CMS content management system and our landing pages. I just wanted to kind of give you guys an introduction to the format of the webinar. So let's go ahead and break this down. And okay, can you guys, okay, I hear, can everyone else hear me? I see that Mary here is saying that she cannot. Okay, so Marissa cannot hear, Mary cannot hear, but Tom can hear. So, okay. So Mary, maybe it's something to do with your speaker, your settings. Same with you, Marissa. Okay. All right, so that being said, let's kick this webinar off. What I'll go over is the format of the webinar. So this will be a recorded session. You are being recorded as we speak right now, and it will be also available at a later time in our knowledge base. We will provide you with the link. The narration process of this webinar could be anywhere from 45 to 50 minutes. And then we will take about 10 to 15 minutes of Q&A via Teams messaging. You should have access to that. Any questions that are not answered during this session will be answered in writing following the meeting. A survey will be sent out following the session with questions and feedback if there's an opportunity to improve our webinars and some of the content that we provide. We'd love to hear about that. And then I will also provide a link to the article that we have written up to support our CMS next landing pages. So on today's agenda, I just want to kind of give you guys a quick update about our TOC to CMS transition. We are still working with our team in order to go ahead and assess the content from a table of contents details and how we can go ahead and convert that to CMS. We will be reaching out to you in the coming fairly soon. And we will be going over the format would be followed as overview of our next landing page. We'll discuss what a CMS is. We'll review the back office a little bit. And then how do we go ahead and take all this content that we have built over time and how it's displayed on the landing page. So we will break this down into overall general content, destination, region-specific content, such as travel information, accommodation details, how that is set up and displayed, right? We'll talk about our new product itinerary, daily itinerary process in the product next application. We will dive into the CMS product content, such as the highlights and images, how we display all that information and how do we store it. And then I will provide a very brief introduction to the knowledge base article that we have written up. Okay. So CMS or content management system. So what is it? It's basically a part of our application that helps users create, manage, and modify content on a website with little to no technical knowledge, right? So it's a tool that helps you build some of the static pages, right? Or update your package landing pages without needing to write any kind of code from scratch, right? So we want to go ahead and reduce that knowledge gap to as little as possible, and having some of this information coming from a number of places already built into the system, into your database, right? And then also, how do we go ahead and make that a little bit, a lot more presentable and manageable? So this basically is what our CMS is, and I will give you a breakdown of what that looks like, okay? So, but before we go ahead and do that, I'm gonna go ahead and show you what our landing pages look like. And I want to go ahead and present that to you first, okay? So this is our next landing pages on our new platform, okay? So the page is broken down as follows. We have our product name displayed, right? And then we have an image gallery. You could have one or more images, and the system, if there's more than one image, the system will go ahead and break that down into different tiles. right? So if you had one image only, the system would go ahead and display it as a one full banner image. But if you had more than one, then it would break it up into tiles. And if there is more than 5 images, right, then you would have a little hyperlink in here to display that content as basically a carousel where you can go through and display all this information one by one. You have an opportunity to add some sort of a title to the image, so that could match your itinerary details too if you wanted to. And you can go ahead and go through these items, and it looks very nice, as you can see. Okay. So the next area on these pages is broken down as the highlights, rates and information, hotel details, itinerary, travel information, air information, FAQs, and about us. So the way we're going to go ahead and present this is basically as into different buckets, right? We're going to talk about general content, about some travel information, right? Some of the accommodation details, product itinerary, CMS. So when we're looking in here, this is the highlights section where we have a thumbnail image and we have some text with HTML editor. You can go ahead and display and present the information as follows. The rates and information section, this comes directly from the product application. So with all your dates and prices that you have loaded, the system displays on the next landing page as follows. And you have your basic hotel information, featured hotel details. Now, if you have more than 10 departure dates in a given month, then we have a different approach here, and I'll show that to you too, that the system would go ahead and display that as basically a calendar, right? And then from here, then if there's more than 9 or 10 departures, then it displays the monthly view of your dates and prices accordingly in here, okay? And then if you had any different statuses, the system will go ahead and show it as sold out, and so on and so forth, okay? You have your passenger selection here. You can change it to number of passengers, number of children. You can select the ages. You can add additional rooms if you wanted to. You have your book now button. And then this is the section that we have built basically about the hotel details, right? So if you had any supplier amenities details that was loaded in here, that information will be displayed as follows. And if you want to go ahead and see more details about the property, you can click on the hotel details. And this is our new hotel details page, how it's presented right now. You can go through a gallery of images that are loaded, right? You have your address information that comes from suppliers, and then you can also have a map of the hotel where it's located if you ever want to display that. The other section that we have is our itinerary section. So we have broken down as basically thumbnail image and the itinerary detail. And it is presented with number of text, images, and the date of that service based on the departure date that you have selected. So if I was to go ahead and select February 4, then as you can see, the itinerary details that we have selected are updated accordingly. Now, what's beneficial here is that based on the new approach that we have taken with Product Next application and how we build our itinerary, we could have deviations on the itinerary depending on the seasonality, and we can present a different text, body of text on these itineraries. Okay. The other sections that we have here is basically the travel information. So these are more region-specific details that we have on our landing page, which is driven by the booking rules, and we can be driven by market code, product code, and that's pretty much it, right? And then we have basically our very generic content that you can always have displayed on your landing page, such as air information, FAQs, about us, and you can insert hyperlinks and some other details. If you want to go ahead and navigate to the top, you click on up the top, and then the page renders as follows. If you want to jump onto a certain section of the page, you can click on the itinerary, and as you can see, the page is taking you to the appropriate place that you clicked on. And then you can click on top again to navigate back up. Now, one really nice thing about our landing pages in Next platform is the fact that they are mobile friendly. So if I was to display to you, let's say what's a popular web page type of device, is basically our mobile view. You can see that everything renders quite nicely, right? And then you can see the itinerary details, and our ResNext platform obviously is also mobile friendly, where you can go through the navigation and see the details as needed. Okay. So that being said, let's go ahead and start talking about how we have built this content. And what I'm going to start off with is basically the general content, and I'm going to dive into our CMS application. And we're going to review basically the air information, FAQs, and about us. And we're going to get to our CMS platform. So if you want to go ahead and navigate to the CMS platform, when you go hover over the CMS, there's a few menu options in here. And what you're going to do is you're going to click on the CMS tree view, which essentially will bring you into the screen in here. Now, what we have built in our CMS application is basically what we call a root folder. So think of this as your master folder with a tree view structure that would allow you to go ahead and dive into the details and control your content that you wish to do. So in this scenario, I have broken this down into static pages about us or contact us pages, right? And then I have broken down into different regions, sub-region, destination, the country name, and then the package pages that we have loaded in here. Now that we understand the navigation of this root folder, what I'm going to talk about is a section called landing page section. So within CMS content, we have two core keywords that I want to emphasize on. One is called the CMS header, which is basically what defines the type of page that we're on. And then we have what we call CMS data, which is what basically is the content behind the scenes. So if you want to go ahead and create any type of CMS data, right, you have to have a header section first in order to go ahead and create that. So for the landing page, the content that we have built in here, such as the air information FAQs, right, and about us, that information right now is nested under our CMS, and it's a CMS type called landing page section. Now, when we're looking at this CMS header, I have a way to go ahead and edit the CMS header and see some of the content and give it a title, give it this ID, which is basically landing page section, right? And then the type is what's going to define in here what's going to appear on our landing pages globally, okay? Now the data section in here, in order to go ahead and create a new data, you can click on the plus sign. You can type in the type of CMS data that we need, right? So which is landing page section, right? And associate it with a brand and give it a title. Now you can type in, right? Now we have HTML editor. You can expand that toolbar and enter in different type of formatting, highlight it, insert images if you wanted to, center the text if you wish to do so, enter bullet points, whatever you wish to do basically, okay? When we click on the save, now the systems will go ahead and create that data. And if I was to go ahead and refresh my landing page right now, as you can see, there's now a new section called Oz Demo. And that information is set up here automatically right away, okay? Now, if you wanted to go ahead and you could go ahead and date range this information if you wanted to, right? And then you can advise, you can associate it with a specific brand. So if you're a multi-brand company, you can say that I could have one section for X brand and I can have another section for another brand if I wanted to. All right, so that's basically our landing page section. Okay, so that's step one. Now the step two that we're going to go through here is what we talk about is the highlights and the thumbnails images, okay? And then the images that are loaded in this section. So when we're going to our CMS tree view, as you can see, I have basically created a folder here. You don't really have to, but it is very highly recommended that you should nest them under something that is more sensible to go ahead and load up some of that data, okay? And then the idea is very much the same as we had done on our landing page section, right? So if I clicked on this package, link in here for our CMS, we have what we call a package type, a page type called package when we're creating a new CMS, right? And that is automatically generated on our next platform as soon as you create a product. That's the default setup that we have. So this information will already be built for you when you build your new products in the next platform. The area that we're going to go through here is what we call highlights, and then the image. So these are the two main contents that we have loaded in here. So if you were to go ahead and create a new highlight section, right, from scratch, let's say for the first time, you would click on the plus, type in highlights, put in the brand in here, add the title, right, add a thumbnail image, right, which is basically our image uploader. You could use that in order to go ahead and upload it from your existing library of data, or you can upload it locally from your own machine. Or you can, if you're using a different platform, you can copy and paste that URL right in here, and that information would display as follows. And again, you have your HTML editor that would go ahead and enable that. That could go ahead and create your content as you desire. So if I was to go ahead and look at this highlight section, for example, right now, this is the content that I had built. I used actually a template that is already built into the HTML header in here. And I was able to go ahead and bold it, put it in bullet points, add a text with red text, right? And if I want to go ahead and add some more details, right, such as test, when I go ahead and click on save, that information would display accordingly in here, okay? So the next part of this section that we want to kind of talk about here was also the image. So the images that we have here, they can be ordered in a sequence number, right? Right now it is ordered by date stamp, but you can put it into a certain sequence number. The idea is very much the same. You can right click and edit or create the image type. You can insert your image link URL, give it a title, which would display on the landing page when you're going through this image gallery. The text displayed in here is driven through the text in this section as a title, right? You can associate it with a brand. The CMS reference is what we call an image. And you have your reference ID, which is associated with the CMS header section, okay? Once you go ahead and load up multiple images, the web page will automatically render this detail, either in a tile gallery, and if it's more than 5, like I said before, the information would display as a carousel, okay? So we covered our image, we covered our highlight section, okay? And now the next area that I want to kind of talk about is our hotel details, right? So within SoftTrip, in our product next application, right, we have our supplier amenities, and this is all that same content that you already had built. If you already have built it already, right, that information would be coming up in here. So in order to review that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to navigate through our product, suppliers, and I'm going to jump into our amenities profile, okay? And when I jump onto our amenities profile, I'm going to type in my supplier name. And the information that I had built in here on the supplier amenities, but this is basically our profile builder in the next platform that allows you to go ahead and enter in some key information, such as the image map, the map image for the hotel profile page. You can enter in multiple images into this platform. You can copy and paste or upload the image from either your local machine or your you can go ahead and load up all these these images, okay? And then you can enter in your pop-up title, how you want to display the image for the pop-up description, and guest the hotel amenities in different areas. Now we could go ahead and put a number of areas in here. You could go ahead and control this from amenities, but SoftShop has built some of the stock content in here for us to go ahead and display that information. And then we can always manually update these to be more general for your own business needs. Okay. Now, this is the hotel details. Let's go ahead and review that page again real quickly. So all that information that I had entered in here, this is the supplier name, the supplier address, and the phone number that we have loaded, the amenities that I had selected, descriptions that I had loaded in here, and the images that are loaded on that profile page. Okay. Now, the next area that I want to kind of talk about here is our itinerary. So the itinerary is driven in our old legacy application in Net. The itineraries was just basically one big large text, which didn't allow us to get flexible about create some deviations throughout our itinerary, right? So in order to address that, we have taken a newer approach on this. And what I'm going to go over here right now is our product application. Okay. So in order to get to the product application and next, what you have to do is go to products and tours and products, type in your product name, search that, right click and manage, right? And then while you're in the product under the web page folder on the left navigation, there's a section called preview web page. Okay. Now over here, we have a way to go ahead and build day-by-day itineraries. And we can go ahead and, as you can see, we have a from and to date range. What we want to display as the itinerary day header, the itinerary image. We have an image uploader, and you can copy and paste the URL if you wanted to do. And then we have a way to go ahead and type in the HTML text as you wish to do so. Okay. Now, if you want to go ahead and create any type of deviation, you have an opportunity to say that, let's say, due to certain seasonality requirements, you have to create an exception for this date, right? You can go ahead and copy as new, enter in your new dates, change your text as needed, and then click on save. And in doing so, the system would go ahead and recognize that. And once you do that, the benefit of this is the fact that when you go to your rates and information section and select that date, your itinerary would reflect that specific exception as needed. And this would also trickle down to your travel documents and so on and so forth. Okay. So that being said, last but not least, we're going to talk about the travel information section. Okay. And this is basically sitting in our booking rules area. So this is one of those setups that you do once or twice and you forget it. And then this information would reflect accordingly also, similar to the static content that we have built in here. So in order to get to this section, to manage this content in here, where it's in our booking rules area. Once you arrive into our booking rule area, what you have to do is type in your rule area, type TTIP01, which is the travel tip 01, it's the number 1. And over here, you can go ahead and create a new rule area, TTIP01, put in your description and the rule text, which is also HTML editable. So you can make this more attractive if you wanted to, right? Insert some images or bullet points if you wanted to. So that's one thing. The second thing in here is the fact that you can go ahead and enter in basically ranges in regards to product code, markets, right? So if you have one travel tip for a certain destination, you can go ahead and put in the market code in there. If you want to go ahead and make a travel tip that is an exception because it's unique, it provides different unique services, you can create a travel tip that is more towards that product code. You can go ahead and apply a destination into this section also, and that information would also go ahead and reflect from the booking from in 2 days as well. And based on when you're booking these, when this itinerary is set for, that information would go ahead and reflect on the landing page accordingly. Okay. So that's basically our travel tip information section on our landing page. Okay. So let's take a look at our agenda. Okay. So next area that I want to kind of present to you guys is our knowledge base. In order to access our knowledge base, you click on the little question mark in here, click on the Knowledge Center, which opens up a number of articles and content that we have written up over time. And in this section, I have created one that is called CMS Landing Page, which covers everything that we have went over on the demo also. We will be providing the this recorded session also as a web page in our videos and webinar section, which we will provide you a link for following this session. Okay, so we have all this content in here for you to go through and take a look at it in order to support our future next landing pages. Okay, so that being said, I am pretty much done with us demoing right now our landing page, so I can open up the session for some Q&A. Okay. And if you guys have any questions and comments, I can start taking those in, and then we will try to do our best to answer them in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Don't be shy. Are all these features available now? Currently, it depends on your environment setup. So Softtrip has provided basically a test environment and a production environment, and this may require some configuration from our end in order to get this to your test environment. So it may not be readily available for all our customers yet. We'd be able to redesign the display if we choose to do so. That's something that has to go through our intake process. So if there's any type of proposal that you have in order to change the look and feel of it, that would have to go through our intake process and go through our product approval. So we have a product owner and a manager right now that oversees this, and there could be opportunities for improvements in general. Is there an ability to link out to other external GDS or aggregators? This is a question from Roy Hayes. That I don't know at the moment, Roy, so we'll have to take this away and provide that response to you at a separate session. Is there any way to control the UI of landing page? Yes, you mean the URL, you mean? Do you mean the URL, Naomi, in this scenario, or do you mean the UI, user interface, meaning to change the order of, let's say, this content that appears? That could be controlled via sequence ordering, the user interface. Okay. Again, that's something that we would have to go through our intake process to make modifications. If that's going to be approved, it would have to. It depends on the type of change that has to go through there. So what is the timeline for making this available? That's something that we're still evaluating, and we'll start communicating about that, Naomi. The Kimberly, in the CMS screen, does it default to regions, subregions, etc., as a way to categorize the departures, or are there other ways? So currently on the CMS point of view, to control what the CMS controls here is basically these general content, right? So this general content can be controlled in the following filters, basically from and to date, and then the brand. So there isn't really any region specific. However, travel information that you provide could be controlled based on region via booking rule filters that we apply in here. Okay. The other content that would be this, that can be controlled is, whatever is displayed on your product pages, your departure dates and prices, different statuses and so on. And on the navigation screen. I don't know. Let's take a look. Kimberly, let me go ahead and answer that. Maybe we need to dive into that question a little bit more. So let me try to answer that at a later session with you. So we'll take that away with you, okay? So is there a landing page to display all products? Yes, there is actually. So this is what I broke down before in the past. We're going to be focusing on landing page, but the structuring folder that we have here is basically based on region, subregion, destination, and then the country, right? So each one of these are actually separate pages that we have, but since our focus is more towards the landing page today, that would have to be a separate session on how this pages are structured and displayed. So yes, there is a page that displays destination and countries and so on as you desire, but that is not for the session. That'll be for a future session. Yes, yes. So one question is, can we put our branding logo URL in the header like we do in the demo? Yes, so that is actually will automatically pull up in here based on your INV logo rules that we put in here or in your brands table, that logo will automatically appear in here. They're all good questions. Okay. Would you please let us know where it is in CMS? For branding logo. Okay, so that's normally in the system settings. That's something that is controlled by the administrator. And I'm trying to remember. I believe it's in product and brands. And well, maybe not. It's within the system settings. Let me get back to you on that one. Okay. Yes, Brian, that's a small bug that we have to work on our mobile optimization. We have a project coming up soon on that to optimize our landing page to be more mobile friendly. There are some little tweaks and fixes that we have to do, but yes, that would be one of the fixes that would be coming up with the company logo displaying on the mobile side also. Next. Okay, so for custom groups, can you create a space for a group leader, message, image, and etc.? Yes, you can. So the way you could do that is either in the highlights section, but also you can go ahead and create other tabs in here about your more general content, right? About the group leader. You could go ahead and do that. So when you're creating one, for that one, you can go ahead and associate it with the appropriate reference. Is there such a thing as homepage that could be created as well with the CMS? Yes, we have done that with a number of customers, but we are under the evaluation process with our CMS application on what we're going to be supporting in the future. Can we list similar tours packages on the landing page? Yes, there's an opportunity to do that. That is not currently set up right now. There is a CMS data type called package links. That's something that we are considering. That would basically give you opportunities to jump onto different package landing pages right from here. As a stopgap, you can go ahead and do that in the highlights section if you wanted to do also. You can create URLs on the highlights and provide hyperlinks for that other pages. All right. So that being said, I think we have taken about 10 minutes of questions. If there are no other questions, I can go ahead and end this session. Again, like I said, we will be providing the recording to you after this call, and if there is any questions that we have not answered through this chat, we'll get back to you on that. And that being said, thank you everyone for joining, and that concludes our webinar. Okay, and we'll send out communication accordingly. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody.